What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what's going on with SPY, and a couple more tickers and some very important levels to be watching for. But before I break anything down, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and this offer ends very soon. Now let's break down what's going on with the market thus far. So just a few minutes ago, we actually had some important data come out. We had 3-month and the 6-month bill auctions coming out, very close to expectations. Besides that, that's pretty much it for data. Now, when it comes to the market, I want to talk about some levels. So what happened to SPY today was we got this little pump when we opened, as we were kind of like predicting, a little push to the upside, grabbing liquidity up here before we got a big drop. As we sold off, we saw the market getting bought up at 473 before SPY came right back up right here. So it's kind of just stuck within this range, going back and forth and back and forth. Very boring day, if anything. But this is, once again, still, in my opinion, favoring bears a little bit more. I'm going to break down why that is over the next few minutes and some levels to watch for. So right now, we're basically trying to push just a little bit higher. One thing I'm noticing is that we have this resistance around 474.25. It's kind of tight right there. If we were to continue to break above this and we keep pushing, we're going to be looking for a push towards 475 coming next. And above that, we have 475.5, 476, and 477.5 above that. So if anything, I would say that we're kind of flat though, because when you look at the levels, we've been just going back and forth and back and forth. But as SPY reaches this 478 level, we tend to get these rejections. We have a lot of wicks forming here. So if anything, it's kind of just like a trend day going back and forth and back and forth. Not really a whole lot is going on. For key support, make sure you watch just under 473 to 472.9, that range right over there. If we lose that, there's 472.3, 471.64, followed by 470. So what do I think is going to happen? I think that right now SPY is just range bound, going back and forth and back and forth. It's not really a whole lot going on. It might just remain in this trend as time goes on. So there's nothing too crazy for now. And I think it's just going to remain range bound for the rest of the day. So kind of boring stuff for now, but it's okay, guys. Things will become more interesting later on. Now, and the reason I say that, let me just mention this real quick. I think that there's going to be downside coming soon. I believe that as we approach the month of March, we're going to see the market cool off a bit more. I think that the market's in a topping process. That doesn't mean the market has to crash tomorrow. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying that right now the market is range bound and may remain range bound for some time. But I just want to note that a downtrend could be starting soon as next week maybe. But you have to give it some time. You have to be very patient, especially on days like this. Now, Tesla ended up being a little bit stronger than expected. We actually got a nice bounce from this resistance right over here, which is where we had this yellow resistance. This trend line right over here, we broke above this. We came up to fill this gap. I mentioned to you all that Tesla might try to fill this gap and then reject, or kind of reject from where we were. Instead, we actually went even higher than that, hitting 223.5. Tesla came back down. We've been shopping around 220 since. So it's been kind of just like stuck in 220. If you want to turn more bullish on Tesla, you want to see it basically break 223.5, then eventually 225. If we close above that, that could be a sign of a nice reversal, and we could be looking for a nice push to the upside. If we turn bearish, you want to see this thing lose 217.6 to 218. If that fails us, we have 215, 213.8, followed by 212. So we're going to be watching those levels very, very carefully. Now, if anything, I just want to note that with this potential attempt by Tesla to hold up above 220, we'll see if this ends up holding or not. I think that it's going to likely hold around this range, just be very boring for the rest of the day, very, very tight levels. So I'm not really expecting too much. It might just remain in this range. I think tomorrow things will get even more interesting. Now, we saw this initially sell off after some news that involved Elon Musk, but then bounced as we opened and started to push up. And since then, it's been kind of, it pushed first. Now it's just getting tight and it's kind of stuck for now, which suggests that a big move is coming very soon. So Tesla's starting to show some life. The next stock we have is Aapl. I want to call out Aapl because coming back here, Aapl basically has a head and shoulders like structure right over here. The head and shoulders structure did play out technically, and that's why Aapl went from almost 186 last week. We actually closed at 186, and then we opened all the way down to 181. So we got this big drop on Aapl, but we didn't continue sinking because then we had a big Supreme Court's decision that came out, which was very important for Aapl. And with that happening involving Epic, right, this led to a big bounce. After the Supreme Court decision, Aapl got a nice push back up to 184.25. Then it came back down. So this bounce is what helped the market push up. And then since then, it's been kind of stuck. We're currently around 183, very close to that level. So watch that as resistance, 183.5, 184.25, and within 185. For support, make sure you watch 182, 181, and then 180. And if 180 fails us, there's 178 coming. What do I think Apple's going to do? I think we're just stuck in this range, basically between 183.5 as resistance and 182. So it might just go back and forth for the rest of the day. Kind of boring from here on out. And then two more tickers I just want to go over are the QQQ followed by Nvidia. QQQ got a little push up as well with Aapl and also Nvidia, which helped this push up. Excuse me, sorry guys, I apologize about that. And then we also have this resistance around this 411 area. We actually rejected off that. There's some resistance at 410. Came below that, so now we're trying to hold around. It basically held 407, came back up. So it's like every dollar we have some kind of support or resistance, but they're more important levels relative to others that we've seen. So it's very tight right now around the 408s, going back and forth and back and forth. It's been stuck within this range right here between 408 and like 409 for the last 3 hours. So it might just be stuck in the 408s as the day goes on, unfortunately. Not a whole lot is going on, but here are some levels to watch for. If we do try to push up, the most important resistance to watch for is 410. 411 has minor resistance and 412 is more important. For support, watch 408. If that fails us, we have some support right here around 407. It's very minor. Then 406 to 405.7, those are a lot more significant. If we were to lose that, we have 404, 402, and then 399.6 to about 400 coming next. In my opinion, there's a very good chance that the QQQ might actually kind of just remain range bound, kind of stuck for the rest of the day. Not really a whole lot is what I'm expecting, but we could see something more interesting going into like next week. Not next week, by tomorrow, depending on more data. Like SPY, I'm anticipating some downside for the markets. I think that the QQQ is going to get affected as well. We could hold up temporarily, still range trade for an extended period of time. But I think over the next few weeks, as we approach the month of March, right? Because March is only 6 weeks away, by the way, I think there's going to be some downside. I still hold that view. I think that the market's in a topping process. Looking at other indicators, which I typically go over in the afternoon, I will talk about that later on. I'm going to be watching to see if the bears could get a bigger edge, which I think they will later on. So that's my view for now. We'll be waiting for the time being. And by the way, I'm not insinuating the market has to crash tomorrow. I'm just saying that I think that we're in a topping process. And it may take a few weeks, could take another week by the time we really see the downtrend, but I believe it's still coming, and I want you guys to be prepared for that by the time it finally comes. Now, as far as Nvidia goes, we have a lot of very tight levels on it. It's very crazy. So I want to show you this. Nvidia has been trying to hold up quite nicely. We actually saw this thing push higher than expected. We reached this resistance just under 568. Very, very interesting stuff. And then once we actually broke that resistance, we actually have some really tight levels. That's why I have all these lines drawn out. So I'm going to actually redraw this like this. So we have this like resistance zone all the way up here, just like that. But just to be frank with you, Nvidia has got a nice push up, came back down. Now it's kind of trading sideways. We're currently around the 562. So we have tight resistance at 565. We have our nice support right here around 560. If we lose 560, watch our next support at 557. Then we have 555 below that. What do I think Nvidia is going to do? I think it's going to remain tight and just trade sideways. So we will see how it goes for now. But don't forget that Nvidia and Apple are going to play a big role in affecting the markets. It's going to be very important. So we'll be watching this carefully. For now, it's just range bound, might just remain range bound for an extended period of time. And with that being said, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. So sorry, guys, I didn't go over the levels in a more meticulous manner earlier on because I was just really occupied by all of the bank earnings and such. And, I had very limited time as the market was about to open. So I gave you guys more details for now, and hopefully this helps you for the rest of the day, even going into like the after hours if you want to be watching the markets. So have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys very soon for the afternoon video. Thank you for listening, and peace out.